Do. We are live with Lunch Break Live. Chef Priya, take it away. Go for it.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. We are making these delicious, where are they? Crabby cakes. And I'm just going to say that you're probably going to hear one of my cats, Casper, because he's vocal and he likes to be involved in everything I do. He loves being on camera, so he will probably make an appearance. But this is the easiest recipe to make. Mostly involves items that you have in your pantry: chickpeas, hearts of palm. Maybe you won't have those, but maybe you will. Marinated artichoke hearts. And the best thing about this, there's really no chopping. It's really just about opening all those pans, pulsing them. You want to get a consistency sort of like this, because you don't want it to be mushy. You want it to have a consistency where there's still some chunks of pieces of things in it, so that it's not just one big mushy cake when you make it. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. This is very exciting to be cooking live, which I have not done yet before, so here we go. So this is, again, what you're going to pulse: your chickpeas, your hearts of palm, your artichoke hearts, a can of each, just a small jar of marinated artichoke hearts. Pulse them up, not too mushy. And then you're going to stick this into the fridge. When it comes back out, after 30 minutes, you're going to make it into some cakes. So you're just going to put them into your palms. I have washed my hands, folks. We're going to press them into little cakelets here, like this. You don't want them to be super thick, but these are all ingredients that you don't really worry if they're fully cooked or not, because they're already kind of cooked. They're raw but cooked. Does that make sense? Probably not. Anyways, you want them about this consistency and about this big. So I'm saying about 2 to 3 inches in diameter. You're going to get those with some breadcrumbs, which I just used some bread I had left over because I'm trying not to waste food. You know, we're all trying to make sure that we're not throwing too much stuff in the garbage. It makes me crazy to waste food. So I have just made my own homemade breadcrumbs, put them in a little plate here, such as this. And we're going to take our little patties, press them into the breadcrumbs on both sides. Make sure that they're nicely coated. You don't want them to be super coated. While you're doing that, of course, make sure that you've got a little bit of oil, whatever kind of oil you prefer. I like olive oil. Sometimes I use avocado oil. Sometimes, very rarely, I will use coconut oil, because a lot of people don't like the taste of that coconut oil in their crab cakes. So for the purposes of this demo, I'm going to be using olive oil. So make sure that that oil is at a nice sort of medium heat. You don't want them to burn, but you do want them to get nicely browned. So set aside one of those cakes, grab another handful. And while I'm making this, I'm going to just say that most of the recipes in our book contain wine, because I do like to cook with wine as well as drinking it. But this is one of the rare ones that doesn't. So all I'm going to do with the wine is later on talk about what's going to pair with it as we taste these delicious crab cakes, which I have to tell you, the reason Jen loves these so much is that she could not tell them apart from real crab cakes. So I haven't eaten anything that is, I told you he would make an appearance. He is so naughty. He has to be a camera hog all the time, you know? So we've got well, I'm telling you, Casper.
Welcome to Lunch Break Live, you all. We're so excited. We are with vegan food consultant and TV host Priya Rao, who is making these delicious crabby crab cakes that are plant-based. We're going to hear all about your brand new book. We're going to see some photos from there, and take it away. Back to you.
Yeah, so we've got them in this little frying pan. Usually I would make about 5 or 6 at a time in a larger frying pan. There's Casper's tail just entering and leaving. These are going to cook for about 3 to 4 minutes on each side. You want them to be lightly browned, but you don't want them to burn, of course, so don't put the heat up too high. And you're going to have to replenish the oil with every batch of cakes, because they're going to soak it up. You're going to get that nice light golden fry on them. We're going to be just let them cook here. I like to press them down as they're cooking, because I find that that helps them stay together a little while longer. So when you make the actual, I told you already, this is the easiest recipe. So when you pulse everything together, you're going to bind these with some breadcrumbs in in that mixture itself. So the breadcrumbs are going to hold it together on the inside, but they're also going to give you that lovely little crispy pan-fried taste and texture on the outside, which is part of what makes the wine pairing work so well, because that little bit of fried goodness and the acidity from the wine, which cuts right through it, that's what makes it a perfect pairing.
Now, loving your shirt, powered by plants. Look at this. Now, your partner on this book is a master sommelier, Jen Huether. And wow, I can't believe some of the incredible recipes that are in your book. Can you just take us into your book for a moment while that crab cakes are cooking? Tell us a little bit about what brought the two of you together and a little bit about your book.
Thank you so much. Well, what brought us together was basically our mutual love of all things plant-based. Now, I've been vegan for about 10 years and was vegetarian for about 20 years before that. I'm going to be 50 on my next birthday, so eating this way has kept me young. But I met Jen 3 years ago when she was hosting a dinner, a wine pairing dinner at one of Toronto's, that's where I'm based, that's where we're both based. She was hosting it at Planta, which is one of the top plant-based restaurants here. And it was the first, get this, the first dinner in the world that was hosted by master sommeliers in terms of being a vegan, like a plant-based food and wine event. It just hasn't happened in the world, or hadn't at that time, which was only 3 years ago. I'm gonna take a minute to flip these over so we get that nice browning, but we don't burn them. So at that dinner, I went up to Jen. Now, I'd been doing vegan food and wine events with my previous partner, romantic partner, for about 5 years before that. But then that relationship went by the wayside. And I had this idea for a book because, you know, when you hear about food and wine, you always hear, well, white meat goes with white wine and red meat goes with red wine. And I'm like, well, what wine goes with my cashew-based cream sauce or my CRABBY crabless cakes? Nobody was talking about that. So I had this idea for a book, searched everywhere, nobody was doing it. And I went to Jen and I said, listen, I love that you're hosting this dinner. I have this idea for a book. We went for a coffee, and the rest, as they say, is herstory.
I love it. Can we, when you get a moment, see some of those pictures from your book? And we're going to put the link in here, everybody. Oh my gosh, take a look at this. This is a first of its kind book. You are going to get recipes. You are also going to get these delicious pairings. Tell us a little bit more as you show the photos. Thank you so much.
Yeah, so I'm going to tell you, first of all, that everybody involved with this book, first of all, was female driven. So the whole team was a group of amazing women, and everybody was plant-based. So it was really important to us that the photographer, the person who did our hair and makeup, the layout designer, everybody was themselves plant-based, just to give the whole concept a little bit more integrity. What I like to do with my meals, and this is one of my favorites, mushroom risotto, is that, I mean, I'm not a chef by any means, but I am an entertainer and I love throwing a good dinner party. And I had all these dishes that I loved from when I was still eating meat. And I thought, am I gonna never have shepherd's pie or coconut cream pie or sticky toffee pudding or any of these things ever again? No, I refuse to say that I will not experience those joys again. I'm just gonna veganize them. This is also one of my favorites. It's called Imam Baildi. It's a Turkish dish I first had when I was in Istanbul about 11 years ago. It's like a baked eggplant with basically sort of like a bruschetta topping on it and pine nuts. You just bake it. It's delicious. Of course, there are desserts. We've got this lovely apple spiced cake. We've got sticky toffee pudding. We've got the aforementioned coconut cream pie, all of these things which have just been veganized, and I dare you to tell that they are not the real thing.
I love it. You are also a TV host. What is that about? Tell us about that.
Yeah, well, when I was with my previous partner, we had a show here in Toronto or in Canada called The Drink, where we went around and we explored some of the best places, wineries, a sake distillery, and some great bars here in Toronto and in the area, just exploring different places that you could experience fantastic drinks of all different types there could be beer, there would be wine, but adult beverages, you might say. So that was one of the shows I did. And I've also been a TV host. Like, I've interviewed Canadian film and TV talent for about 10 to 12 years, just working in the Canadian film industry here. So I've had lots of time to experience, the joys of being on both sides of the camera. But what my biggest joy is to talk to people, to interview people, and to just, learn about all the exciting things that they're doing in the film and TV world, and now in the vegan food and wine world.
Love it, love it, love it. Back to those crabby
Yes.
crabless.
So we've got the CRABBY cakes. I should say that they're named after Casper because he's crabby, and he just was being a little bugger, and he kicked my other cat out of her bed. He does these things, but boys will be boys, right? So now, just supposing I'm making another batch of these cakes. Now, the tartar sauce is the other secret. So we've got some vegan mayonnaise here. We all know how easy it is to find vegan mayonnaise now. This is going to be the easiest tartar sauce you've ever seen. So I've got a pickle. This is the only chopping in the whole recipe. I kind of love that because, when it's late and you're trying to make dinner, or if you're trying to make something for a dinner party and you've already got so many dishes that have so many steps, and there's like 15 things you got to chop into different shapes and sizes. Sometimes you just want a recipe that's really easy to put together. So this is the only chopping in the entire book. Chop that pickle up, put maybe a tablespoon or so into here, mix it up. You're going to want a bunch of fresh dill. You definitely need fresh dill. You cannot, try and cheat and have dried dill. It's just not going to give you the flavor that you need. So I guess I lied. There's 2 pieces of chopping here because you're going to need to chop the dill. And I'm going to take that off because I can see that it's smoking, and the last thing I want is for the fire alarm to go off right in the middle of this live. So here we are, just chopping up this dill. About half a cup goes into here. I'm going to mix that all up. I'm making a mess because I didn't get a bowl that was large enough, but these things happen. So
this is why we do it. We do it so that we can just show everyday people can make these delicious vegan recipes. Veganize your kitchen, get that plant-based going. What's that?
That is the marinated artichoke. So I'm taking some of the marinade from there and adding it. That's sort of the final piece of flavor in this tartar sauce. So it's just going to give it a bit of zing. And also, because those the marinated artichokes are also in the crab cakes, it's a really nice way to marry the sauce that's on top with what's in the dish. So, and yeah, I love what you said, Paige, about just showing people how easy it is to veganize their pantry, because that's really what this book is about. This book is not geared towards vegans. I love when vegans pick up this book, but really the purpose of this book is to show that, the holidays are coming up. Oh gosh, now we have our daughter-in-law who's plant-based and I don't know what to cook for her. So she'll be fine with the side dishes. We've all been there, haven't we? Yeah, well, this is a book of no more side dishes for dinner for those plant-based people at your table. These are easy recipes, and recipes of favorite dishes, like I said, shepherd's pie, pot pie, all the things that you might want to make on a regular dinner party. You can just veganize them and have everyone at the table enjoy the same meal with no one missing out. We like to say it's FOMO and guilt-free. So there is the tartar sauce. So easy, done. I would normally chill this for maybe about 15 minutes or so and let the flavors marry. But now that we've got, I had my prepared CRABBY cakes here. But as you saw Casper walking along the table before, look what he did. He went and ate some. So I guess you could say that this is cat approved as well. So we're going to take that one off the plate.
This is the first time ever, Priya. I do have to say, this is so funny. Now, I do want to ask about what a master sommelier is, because I just think that is so impressive that the two of you come together, a vegan food consultant, TV host, and like you said, Jennifer's a master sommelier. Take it away.
Well, and I'm so sorry she couldn't be here to join us. Something came up at the very last minute, and we're both really upset that she couldn't be here. But I do want to give her props where she would never give herself props, to say that there are fewer than 300 master somms in the world. It is the equivalent of having like your PhD in wine studies. And she studied for 12 years. She tried to pass that exam, I believe, 3 times before she finally succeeded. It is extremely difficult. Many people try and very few attain the title. She's Canada's first female master somm. And so it's very exciting that somebody of her level, and even the fact that plant-based food and wine has hit the register of master somms in the world, shows that this is really, we're really taking over. So Powered by Plants is taking over the world. And yeah, I'm so happy to be partnered with her. And what she did, which I think was super cool in this book, is that not only did she do the pairings, but she provided a high and a low wine pairing for each recipe. Because for many of us, well, at least for myself, I'm not going to splurge on a 40+ bottle of wine every day for dinner. I will for the holidays or for special occasions, or for an occasion that I want to make special. But normally I'm going to spend between, and here in Canada it's slightly different. I know you guys can get some fantastic bottles of wine for like $10 even, but here I'm going to say between 15 to 20 is my comfort level of buying an everyday bottle of wine. So I really appreciate that she chose to put a high and a low pairing. And also, one of the things I want to mention is that a part of the proceeds from every copy sold go to support the Toronto Vegetarian Food Bank, because we strongly believe that food and enjoying fabulous food and wine is not something that should be only for the people in certain budget levels, certain income levels. So we are supporting the Toronto Vegetarian Food Bank really in everything we do, but we're really happy that we can support them with this book. Yeah, is there anything else you want to know about master somms and wine?
I just love this. And I want to say that Candace Best says, love the 3 recipe section in the book: small talk, big talk, and sweet talk. So something for everyone. Let's go back to the crab cakes real quickly. Can you show us what you mastered up here? Oh my goodness. Okay, if you could break it down,
we're going to put dollop that tartar sauce on there.
Amazing. And tell us what you put in there again, because we have new people joining every moment.
Okay. So these are, you're going to find lots of recipes for crabless cakes online, and they use either, chickpeas or artichoke hearts or hearts of palm. And I thought, well, why wouldn't I use all 3? So all 3 of those are in here. Most of these items you probably have in your pantry. And then there's very simple ingredients outside of that. The only 2 special ingredients, and I should have mentioned this before, because these are what give them their special crab-like flavor, are these guys right here. So seaweed, and it can be wakame. You can also use nori sheets, but whatever kind of seaweed you can find, just crumble it up really finely when you mix it into your mixture here. And again, there's the consistency. You don't want to chop it till you don't want to mash it. You want it to still have some chunks in it. And Old Bay seasoning. This stuff is what gives it that really nice flavor aside from the seafoody flavor. So it just has so much, it even says no, you know what? I don't have my glasses on. I thought it said sea seasoning, but it just says seasoning. This is what happens when Priya doesn't wear her glasses. Let's just put that aside. So those are the only 2 ingredients that you might not readily have in your pantry, but everything else, lemon juice, Dijon mustard, the vegan mayo, fresh dill, chickpeas, artichoke hearts, all these things are easy to get. And I wanted to have a recipe that's super easy to make and easy for everybody to find the ingredients. So just top that with a little bit of extra dill for some presentation. We're going to slice up some lemon. And yes, Candace, thanks for mentioning that we separated the book into the categories of small talk, big talk, and sweet talk, because for us, it really is about enjoying that experience of being with people you love, maybe sometimes questionable around the family table at Thanksgiving, but enjoying those amazing conversations that happen around the dinner table. So our book is built around that premise of, when people come they just arrive and you have that small talk, and then you settle in and you're having your big talk, your main course, and you're all really digging into those fun, sometimes not so fun conversations. And then you end off the evening on a lighter note with some delicious, say, molten lava cakes. So here is the final product. A little bit messy, We're not going to
look delicious, unbelievable. And everybody, you are going to be able to find Priya and Jennifer's book. Oh my goodness, so exciting, everybody. You're going to be able to find that over there. We put the link in there. And we just want to thank you so much for joining us today. Look at these gorgeous crabless crab cakes. They're making a little smile at us right now with the lemon.
Oh, yeah, they are. I love it.
All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We'll see